When students walk through the door, they are held to rules and school policies that guide their actions, behavior, and speech. As citizens of the United States, we have natural-born rights that our government allows us to exercise, including the freedom of speech. But many students wonder if these rights are still granted to them at school.
I think that in schools they try to give us as many First Amendment rights as they can, but if you take a closer look at the handbook, there are a lot of restrictions on our rights in school that we would have as free citizens in the outside world.
While it seems some of the school rules may conflict with our rights, we look to the law to find the answer.
According to the court case Tinker versus Des Moines in 1969, it was decided by the Supreme Court that students and adults do not lose their constitutional rights when they come into a school.
What this Supreme Court case decided was extremely significant to students all around the country. In 1968, students wore black armbands to school as a peaceful way of protesting the Vietnam War. The students were suspended and felt their First Amendment rights had been violated. The Supreme Court decided in 1969 in favor of the students and ruled that the students and teachers do not lose their rights at school in light of the special characteristics of the school environment.
And schools can decide on time, place, and manner of, say, a group of students that want to protest something.
So while we have our rights, there are certain limitations put on what we can say and do. But is it fair to give us our rights in some places, like public libraries, and limit them in other places, like school?
I think that no matter where you go, especially someplace like a public school, you should never be, restricted on what rights you have. This is America, and your rights should never be taken away from you for, school's something that we have to come to. It shouldn't take away our rights.
With restrictions come reasons. So how are the limitations on our free speech justified?
I think there should be limits on our speech to make our school a better learning environment.
There are certain things we can't say at school that would disrupt the learning environment. Determining what is and isn't disruptive can prove to be difficult.
But the school needs to be able to show that there's a potential for substantial disruption. And you could think of any number of different things that could cause a substantial disruption just because of speech.
So how are school officials deciding what's not appropriate language for school? As many students and teachers know, speech isn't the only object of disruption when students walk through these doors. Students often use their clothing to express themselves, but sometimes an outfit can come across as inappropriate or offensive. Fort Mill High School has taken certain steps to protect the learning environment by having a dress code that limits certain clothing that interferes with the educational process.
Well, the one that we have the most trouble with is revealing dress on both boys and girls.
Inappropriate clothing can include things with obscene words and pictures or advertisements for substances not allowed on school grounds.
So we want our students to be modest. We want them to be fashionable, sure, but we also want them to be modest with their dress.
Other limits put on clothing typically include the length of shorts and dresses and the width of tank top straps. These limits tend to vary from school to school depending on the region and climate.
I think they think it's okay to have a dress code to prepare people for what they have coming in the future and to keep people safe throughout the day.
While some argue that limiting what we wear violates our freedoms, courts have given schools the opportunity to make dress codes to maintain a safe learning environment. So although students are fully equipped with their First Amendment rights when they come to school, there are certain limits the school puts on what students can say or wear in order to protect the students and maintain a safe learning environment for all. For PBS Student Reporting Labs and the Buzz TV, I'm Katie Gano.